What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Aqua Supreme back with another video, and today's topic is going to be how to fix cloudy water. I've decided upon sitting down on a bucket and tilting my phone, holding my phone up. Even though it is an informational video, I do not have a tripod at the moment. So I'm going to hold it, and I want you guys to get some background action because the videos are quite boring, just staring at me and a wall behind me. So I wanted to get some background action, and that is why I am sitting down holding my phone up, but that is okay. I will do it for you guys. So please hit the like button, subscribe, and do drop a comment if you would like to, if you have any questions. Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying cloudy water. I've seen many people come into the store, many people asking online how to fix cloudy water. I just fed or I just done a water change, and all of a sudden my water is starting to cloud up, my water is murky, my water is green. So there are a lot of things that do affect your water quality. Well, not your water quality, your water clarification, and I'm going to list them out for you, and then I'll give in detail explanations of all of them, and I'll also list out some options that you guys can try to clean out your water or get your water as clear as possible. So the reasons for cloudy water are going to be a dirty substrate, inadequate filtration, bacterial bloom, and too many fish inside of your tank. So those are the 4 reasons that I'm going to talk about now. So let's get into it. Okay, so starting off with number 1, dirty substrate. When you buy any sort of substrate, whether it be your fine, your dense, your coarse, not dense, coarse is the word, or even your soil, they are going to be dirty. You do not know where people get the sand from, where the sand is manufactured from or collected from. So it is always dirty. There are always dust particles inside of your substrate, so you are going to have to rinse it out. Unfortunately, that is a step that everybody has to do, except for a few soil type of brands. I know the Aqua soil that I use shouldn't be rinsed out, so you do get a few soil products that do not need to be rinsed out, but most substrates are going to want to be rinsed out. They have a lot of dust particles inside of them. So take a bucket, pour it into the bucket, and pour water into the bucket, stir it around a little, pour out the water, that type of way. I'm pretty sure there are easier ways to do it, but that is how I do it. Most people do it like that. So that is how you clean out your substrate. Otherwise, you are going to pour it into your tank, and you're going to pour water into your tank or put water into your tank, and all that dust is going to come out, and it is going to cloud up your water. I do have some footage of my sand, because I didn't rinse it out properly, clouding up my water. So there you have it. That is how it looks like. It does look bad. If you have a darker substrate, it is going to have a darkish look to it. So that is just the substrate when setting up a new tank. That is the reason for cloudy water most of the time. Now, the remedies for cloudy water when it comes to your substrate, as I mentioned now, do rinse it out before adding it to your tank. And if you have skipped this step and already added it to your tank, and your tank is already cloudy, then what you can do is you can either just leave it. It is going to settle down again, drop to the bottom, or your filter is going to suck it up or collect the particles, but it won't collect all of them, unfortunately. So that dirt or that dust particles are still going to be in your substrate. So you are going to, when you stir up your substrate, you are going to release them, and it is going to cloud up your water once again. So that is going to happen. So you can either leave it if you're lazy, or you can add in another filter. Any filter will really help. Add in any other sort of filtration, or you can use some products, some chemicals such as your ChemiCleans, or from Prime. I know they have Clarify. From Seachem, they do have the Seachem Clarify. From API, you do have your, what is it, Aqua Clear? Yes, your Aqua Clear. So you can use those products that will help that basically binds the dust particles inside of your tank, make them more dense, more coarse, and then it is easier for your filter to suck them up. That is the main purpose of those products. The next reason for your tank clouding up, again this is with your new setups, but later on once you start adding in fish, you are going to get your bacterial blooms. So what a bacterial bloom is basically is just too much nutrients, too many nutrients inside of your tank for your plant or your tank to break down, and then the bacteria use those nutrients to grow, to multiply. So that is basically what happens. It is just a bacterial bloom, nothing deadly or harmful to your fish, but the extra nutrients could cause ammonia, so you do not want to have that inside of your tank. Something else that could cause a bacterial bloom is going to be something like dead fish, overfeeding, and imbalance of nutrients. So those things, do not overfeed. Remove a dead fish if you do see one, and try to balance out your nutrients if you have plants inside of your tank. So those are going to be your reasons for bacterial blooms. I have decided to change up the angle because I realized you can't see anything while editing this video. So yay for that. I'm not going to record that again, but I have changed up the angle so hopefully you guys can see a bit better while of my fish tanks. So yeah, let's continue on with the video. Best methods to help you clear out bacterial blooms. You'll see it has a, like your water gets really cloudy and you'll know when it's bacterial bloom because it's not going to be from your substrate, it's going to be much later on. So what you can do to help with your bacterial bloom is going to be a water change. Water change does work every single time. So water change is going to be the number one thing that I do recommend. After that, you are going to want to feed less. So feed maybe once a day instead of twice, or feed every other day. You are going to want to do that until the bacterial bloom does clear up, and maybe stick to that routine if your fish are okay with it. And like I did mention when I talked about bacterial blooms, you can remove out the dead fish that do cause that, or you can add in more plants if it is a situation of not enough plants or too many nutrients. Those are going to be your best remedies for your bacterial blooms, or you can use any other chemical that you prefer. The next reason for cloudy water is going to be inadequate or bad filtration. And yes, it is possible for you to have a filter inside of your tank and still have inadequate filtration. What I mean by that is your filter media inside of your filters, your mechanical filters that you do have running, those could be too coarse. So the media that you're using, let's say your ceramic rings or anything like that sort of coarse material, lava rocks, those type of things, not going to be enough, not going to be fine enough. So things such as your sponges or your piece of wool, those things have very small fine gaps in between of them, so they do a better job at catching up smaller particles. If you do not add in your flocculants such as your clarify or your aqua clear, anything like that, your particles are going to go through your filter media. That's why wool, sponges, those things have smaller holes in them that makes it harder for the particles to get through your filter media. I think you get what I mean. So remedies for inadequate filtration, that is going to be just add in something more fine, some sort of wool or sponge into your filter media. That is going to help out a lot, even if it is just for a little while. I'd recommend keeping it there, but even if you want to swap it out later on, maybe use something like Purigen or anything like that, then you can do that. You can just add it in for a while and then remove it once your water starts to clear up. So that is what I would recommend for that. Or you can just add in another sort of mechanical filtration, so another filter. But who wants to have two filters inside of their tank? So yes, the best is going to be to change up the filter media inside of your filter that was originally inside of your tank. And my fourth and fifth tip is going to be, well, reason is going to be too many, or the type of fish that you do have inside of your water. I'm combining these two because there isn't a lot of information to have them separately. That's why I'm combining them. So this is technically 5 reasons for cloudy water. Going on from that, so too many fish inside of your tank, as I mentioned earlier with your bacterial blooms, too many nutrients for your tank to handle. Fish can add to that bacterial bloom. The fish waste nutrients release into your tank bacterial bloom. Another thing about too many fish, the more fish you have, the higher the risk of them dying, or a lot of them dying, which is going to cause, once again, bacterial bloom. So yes, that is basically that about too many fish. Make sure you have the right amount of fish inside of your tank. You do not want to overstock your tank. And then the last reason that I do have for cloudy water is going to be the type of fish that you have inside of your fish tank. So you do get many types of fish. You get your bottom dwellers, you get your catfish, all that. I'm not going to go into all of that, but you do get some fish that like to stir up the sand, especially your bottom dwellers. So you do get fish such as your shell dwellers, that type of cichlid. They do like to live in the shells that you place into your tank, so they usually stir up the sand. You get your loaches, your Corydoras, and your Brisonus plecos. They like to stir up the sand as well, so those are going to be those types of fish. Do research on your fish. Make sure on the fish that you do have, see if they are going to stir up the sand if you are worried about that, because that can be a reason for cloudy water. And then going on to my following tip of the type of fish that you do have inside of your tank. Fish such as your cichlids or your goldfish that do produce a lot of waste is going to add to the amount of nutrients that you do have inside of your tank. So do some research on your fish before buying them. A lot of people don't. A lot of people just see the colors and they want that fish, but it is very important to do the research on your fish. And yes, that is going to be it for me, guys. Those are going to be my 5 reasons for cloudy water and some remedies for them. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was informative for you guys. Please remember to hit that like button and subscribe. It does help out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. So thank you so much for that, guys. Until next time, peace.